The Brutix not particularly quick, but those Enyos are really tough tanks for their size, and those Incursus equally tough tanks.
Okay.
Hi there, everyone. We just had some slight technical issues. I'm CCP Dolan here with CCP Fozzie, bringing you Tinkerhell and Alts versus Oxygen Isonopes. Tinkerhell and Alts has chosen to bring out the Rook and the Slipnir. Oxygen Isonopes have chosen to bring out the Legion and the Tengu.
Yeah, and we're seeing a setup that are actually very similar to what we saw in our last match. Tinkerhell and Alts bringing a Machariel setup, different from the Y- team in that it uses 2 Machariels and a Scimitar instead of 3 Machariels. And then the Oxygen Isonopes team have brought in a new Chronos team. So it's 2 Cronoses and Neros, and this time a Brutix for even more damage, and then Enyos and Incursus for tackle. This is going to actually play out, I think, very similarly to the last match, in that it's going to come down to whether or not the Tinkerhell and Alts team can take out the frigates for Oxygen Isonopes, whether the Isonopes can keep them alive long enough to get tackle. If they can take down even one of those Machariels, they're going to be in big trouble.
Oxygen Isonopes warping in very close to the beacon. Tinkerhell and Alts warping as far as possible.
As you kind of expect with the kiting team. Now, the one key difference here is that the Isonopes team has brought tracking disruptors. So they do have the ability to reduce the range and tracking of these Machariels, or at least one of them. They've got tracking disruptors applied to one of the Machariels at the moment. There is tracking disruptors coming from the Tinkerhell and Alts team as well, but the Cronoses don't suffer quite as much for something like that because of the fact that they have that web. Once you get within range, you're not going to be moving.
You're going to be tracking whatever. And you're already directly on top of them when you're shooting with those high DPS close-range blasters, like a shotgun in your face.
So we did see Tinkerhell and Alts already try to apply damage to one of the Enyos, but he got caught very easily. He's staying comfortably in armor. Both the Oxygen Isonopes team is all armor tanked. The Tinkerhell and Alts team is all shield tanked. So seeing the shield disappear in the Isonopes, not a big deal for them. They're just concerned about keeping the armor up.
Yep. And of course, both high skill positions, those 2 logistics pilots, doing their very best to make sure everyone is pre-locked, everyone knows where damage is coming in.
Yeah.
I really do like Tinkerhell and Alts setup a little bit more than Y- from the previous round.
I think I do as well.
The strong small ship contingent in those interdictors and assault frigates are really, really strong. I like them much more than just some random Merlins that you threw in because you didn't have enough points left.
Merlins are really good in general, like overall. The Molluses are nice for the Damps, but Sabres are really amazing for shredding frigates.
Yes.
And what this team needs to do is be able to clear off tackle, and nothing can do that quite as well as a Sabre. If you can keep the Sabre alive, which requires a really good logistics pilot. Yep. We are seeing damage being applied now to a couple ships on the Oxygen Isonopes, including one of
they're going to try to see if they can break the tank of the Kronos through the Aneros reps.
Yep, that's very true. Well, it's just a positioning game at this point. They're just trying to move in on each other, make sure they're cornering the right ships, make sure they're not overextending. It could potentially be a real problem for them if they do get out of position.
Yes. At the moment, it is really just a big chess match. Both teams are trying to get into better position, trying to avoid going out of the arena, and trying to actually corner the other team. If the Isonopes can spread out and try to pin
the Machariels for Tinkerhell and Alts against the edge of the arena, that can be a very effective way to catch them, keep them from being able to escape as easily.
We may have had some slight technical difficulties there. We apologize for any interruptions in our audio commentating. We are in a new studio this time, so we would like to apologize for those small little hiccups we will be having.
So meanwhile, one of the Sabres for Tinkerhell and Alts has gone down. Sabres, again, great for shredding frigates, but very vulnerable. They have large signature radiuses, very easy to hit compared to the amount of hit points they have. So keeping them alive is a big challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Still trying to maybe handle some potential technical difficulties that we're having in the studio. Oh, we're good to go?
Perfect.
All right, thanks, good. We apparently have no technical difficulties now, so we're good to go.
We do have webs applied to the Hawk for Tinkerhell and Alts, so if Oxygen Isonopes can take it down, that'll be very helpful. And one of the Enyos is dropping very quickly for Oxygen Isonopes. It's going to really...
Oh, he's already getting reps.
Yeah.
Will they be able to break through those reps?
It'll be interesting to see if that Enyo does go down. If Oxygen Isonopes can hold on to their frigates for long enough, they'll be able to get tackle on these Machariels eventually, and at that point they'll be able to swing the match.
The tackle just came down on an Incursus for Oxygen Isonopes. More and more damage is probably going to apply to him pretty quickly.
We do have one of the Sabres for Tinkerhell and Alts also dropping very quickly too, under a lot of fire.
He's already in low shields. He's gone.
So this is a good position to be in for Oxygen Isonopes. Right now they've been winning the early skirmishing between the frigates. if they can get to the point where they've cleared off all the sabers and that last Jaguar for Tinkerhell and Alts, then it's just a matter of time, really, until they clear a tackle on one of the Macarils. If they can grab that or on the Scimitar, if they can get any of those ships within range of the Cronoses, then they've won the match.
And this Brutix is also pretty good at hitting these small sabers. Of course, Interdictor's slightly larger sig radius than the assault frigates, right in the bread and butter range of the Brutix.
Yeah, in general, medium guns do a really good job of killing sabers and other interdictors and destroyers, and so that's what we're seeing here, along with those Enyos being able to apply a ton of damage. We're seeing a lot of targets switching from Tinkerhell and Alts, but Oxygen Isonopes doing a great job so far.
That Onero's pilot just lost his first Enyo, but he is top-notch.
Yeah, he's been getting reps on very quickly. Now, the last saber for Tinkerhell and Alts is webbed and taking damage. We'll see how much damage ends up dropping on, but he is tackled. And if they can clear him off, Isonopes are going to be in a pretty good place.
Yeah, you can see there one of the incurses is for Oxygen Isonopes motoring across. You can see there one of the Enyos trying to get dressed just on top of what they need to do as much damage as possible.
That Enyo's taking a lot of damage, slipping right to the edge of structure but being pulled back. Again, good job repping for the logistics pilot for Oxygen Isonopes.
Black Sabbath is known for its caringness towards its allies.
Yes. But we're seeing, like at this point, it really is this battle between the frigates and then trying to get the Macarils to make a mistake. The Isonopes team is a team that in this matchup really needs to just do the fundamentals right and wait for a mistake from the other side. And they've got a couple already in the sabers going down.
Yeah, it's interesting that these teams keep going with these similar choices. Of course, Tinkerhell and Alts didn't really have time to switch their setups after the previous match.
No, both of these teams, it would have been a coincidence the fact they're using the same kind of setups. But at this point, with that last saber going down, it's looking like the Kronos Macarial matchup is definitely in the favor of the Cronoses on this tournament.
A lot of people have brought Macarials historically in the Alliance tournament, and they haven't really done that well. There's not a ton of really amazing setups that have brought.
They're very tricky ships to use in this kind of matchup. If you had a much bigger arena, if the arena was infinitely sized or like 500 kilometers, then you could do a lot of great things with them. But being limited into this space means that, like we saw with the Y-Dash team, you go down very easily. And there we go, that Jaguar is down for Tinkerhell and Alts. They're left with just the 2 Macarils and the 1 Scimitar. They still have most of their damage intact, but they don't have any tackle. And without that, it's going to be very hard to hit these frigates.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to hit the frigates. It's going to be hard to protect yourselves, to screen out anything coming directly for your Macarils. Yeah,
the Enyos and the Curses not the fastest of all frigates, but still going to be doing a fairly good job, I think, of catching up to some of these other ships. Neros for the Oxygen Isonopes is taking some fire, and he is shield repped. Yes. So he is a shield tank to Neros, as is often quite common in the tournament.
Just the extra speed you get from that shield tank, the ability to use an ASB, it's just really strong. And with a ship that has as many mids as the Neros for an armor ship, it's very tempting to go with the shield tank. It is quite good.
Yeah, you really have that trade-off with the Aneros. You can choose to go with an ASB tank fit, which gives you a bigger tank and more speed, or you can go with an armor tanking fit, which gives you sensor boosters and ECCM, which protect you from sensor damps and ECM.
Absolutely. These Macarials, I do love the Enyo. The Enyo is my favorite assault frigate.
Enyo is an amazing ship. It will fly right at you.
It doesn't
hit
die.
You in the face.
I do love things that fly right at people and hit them in the face.
Yes.
Like it just doesn't die. It does a ton of damage. It's relatively fast. It's got just the right amount of mids, and it's just it's so good. And it's very pretty too.
The Enyo is very much a hey, would you like some void to the face? Sorry, that wasn't a question. And it's doing a great job of that. We're seeing these Enyos being able to take down Jaguars and Sabres and doing a good job of it, and be able to survive with the help of a really good Aneros pilot. That Aneros is, however, dropping through shield, though. He looks like he's on reload of his ASB, and that means that he's probably going to die under the fire from the Macarials.
Meanwhile, the Scimitar is caught. Scimitar is webbed. It also has a similarly used ASB, I believe, to try and keep itself up. But either one, both of them fall, and I think if both of them fall, Oxygen Isonopes still maintains their lead.
Yeah, it's definitely...
and there goes the Oneros.
The Oneros is down. The Scimitar is webbed by a Kronos, so he's being neuted by the Kronos as well. Kronos is known for having a lot of extra high slots to use for things like newts and smart bombs, as well as having that web bonus.
So they both trade logistics ships. Pretty even trade. The Scimitar going down slightly later. Not a big deal, though.
So now we're actually in a similar position to the second half of that Y-Dash to Huns match, in that it's up to these Macarials to try to pull back a hero victory. The Tinkerhell team is a lot closer in points.
Yes.
But I think they still are going to need to kill at least a Brutix, because I don't think the Enyos and Curses will be enough. No, it won't.
No.
So they're going to try to pick off the frigates, which is the smart thing to do. They need to clear that tackle, but they only have 43 seconds left.
No, they're done.
At this point, they need to kill the Brutix, and that's what they're trying to do. So if they can take down the Brutix and the frigates, but I don't think they have time.
If they can take down the Brutix and the frigates, they tie.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the ideal.
If they had maybe 2 more minutes, then Tinkerhell and Alts could win
if they can
this.
take down the Brutix, they tie. If they
But
take
they just
down
don't
the
have
frigate,
enough time.
there's no time. With 20 seconds left on the clock, they actually are chewing through that Brutix. If they can kill that Brutix and then get like a hero volley onto like the Incursus, for instance.
I don't think they're going to. No, I really don't think they're going to have time. One of the Macarials is tracking disrupted, so they're not going to be. Only one of them's going to be able to effectively apply damage to an Enyo.
There goes the Brutus.
5 seconds left is not going to be.
Do they have them pre-locked?
So that. That's going to be the match
they did not
there.
get the next volley.
Tinkerhell and Alts being the second team that we've seen leave the tournament, following after Y-Dash earlier, where our next match is going to have one more team knocked out, and then we'll be switching to the winner's bracket. So Oxygen Isonopes, good job moving through, and they're going to try to progress to the loser's bracket in a harrowing journey to the finals.
Actually, no, they tied. So
They did?
yes, it's 30.
Whoa!
The 34 is there only because after the time was up, the Incursus dropped just due to some drones that were still left in the arena. That is a tie between Tinkerhell and Alts and Oxygen Isonopes.
Oh yes, I forgot that the Brutix is the 11 now.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So they have tied in this match on points. So we'll have to see what actually goes from there. I'm sure we have.
Well, we do have CCP Shrieks, the ultimate referee, will make the decision on how we will proceed, and we will see you back in the studio after a short break, I believe.